Cool. So I think it's important, we're going to talk about just Facebook today. I'm going to focus on that. So we have any off the wall questions, we'll figure that for the next training. But I think a lot of you are missing the boat of Facebook, and that's why I'm doing this training to really understand kind of the formula that I built for all my platforms and use it consistently on them. Is the reason that every platform is named differently is because it is a different platform and it serves a different function. And I think too many of you guys are just taking kind of the lazy way out and just throwing content out there to throw it, inconsistent on content, inconsistent on stories. A lot of people will put the same content on Instagram and Facebook, and that's not how it works. So we just really need to slow down. So what I would say is, like, take a blank sheet of white paper, kind of like where I have always right here, and just write at the top and just put Facebook, right? And so when you put Facebook and you see it, you just want to be like, okay, when people are coming to my Facebook, what immediately do you want them to know? So, like, if I was to ask any of you guys and said, what immediately do you want them to know once they come to your Facebook account? What would be like a top two things? Like, Jim, if I was asking you, like, okay, I'm at Jim's account, what are you wanting me to know as soon as I come to your account? Or maybe you sent me a friend request, or maybe I'm stalking you from a post, or maybe you're a referral and I'm just looking you up, or I got a flyer, or whatever it is. Like, what are the top two-ish things that you want me to know?
Top two things. I think I would hope people could look at myself and think, "Oh, this guy's easy to talk to," or he'd be a person I want to
Okay.
communicate with. Um, Maybe that time also want them to maybe realize that this guy is a caring person. He likes to do things for people, and
Okay.
is very going and is a very unselfish person.
Okay. So I like that. And then if I was to ask you, I'd say, well, what do you do for a living?
I'm a realtor.
Okay. So where do you live currently?
Las Vegas. I'm
Okay.
licensed
Where are you
now.
practicing real estate?
I'm still practicing in Texas and Las Vegas.
Okay. So write that down, what you just said. So, and I know you got the love of the dogs, but you're like, hey, I want somebody to get to know who I am. I want somebody to know this. You're telling me that you practice. Okay, guys, this is important because I want you to pay attention. Now you're saying you practice in Texas and you're licensed in Las Vegas, right?
Right. I'm going to be doing more work in Las Vegas now. So now I've got to start building my brand out here.
Okay. Okay. But you currently live in Las Vegas, correct?
Correct.
You would 100% say, I live in Las Vegas, John, correct?
Right.
Now I'm a bystander, and this is where it is. And let me show you guys something of how easy it is to lose 10 grand a month. So that's start with what he said. Jim, you were very specific, very right on. You said what you did, you said where you lived, you said where you help real estate people. And now let me fix your shit for free. So now let's pull up Jim's stuff. Here is his Facebook. It does not say that you live in Vegas.
No, I haven't switched that yet.
Okay, that's not what you said. It does not say that you're a realtor in Vegas and in Texas. It doesn't say that anywhere.
No,
Okay.
I've not dated anything in a
You
while.
have your dogs that you have here, that you've got the dogs and items that you're putting out here. What you just did on May 2nd is spam because you shared from Instagram to here.
Right.
When I look at your account, you're very inconsistent. You have 3 posts in the last 45 days. Pretty much the same thing. Your bio's not set up. Your phone number's here, but it's not here when I originally come in. You don't tell me that you're working in Texas and Las Vegas. You have where you work in San Antonio, but you don't have where your license is hung in Vegas currently. So take note of that, guys. Like, dude, I'll tell you this. I got clients, you've heard them a million times for all the years. They do 100 transactions a year. They focus on 2 accounts, Facebook and YouTube. So many of you guys are so blinded by Instagram, you can't even master Facebook. Facebook algorithms that I've told you guys is posting once a day, being consistent, finding out where it is, having you readily information. You don't have your phone number. So everything that you said, guys, and I want you to really review this of what Jim said, because most of you, I would say all of you have your account set up wrong. Obviously, less Diane, because I personally coach her shit's right. But other than that, it's like people don't know. So the way that I put my content out there with Facebook is like, I want them to know who I am, what I do, what it's like working with me, who I'm as a person. Posts can show your funniness of life or whatever it is. I want them to know that I've got 3 kids. I want them to know, like, that I'm easily able to reach out. I want them to know where they can get a hold of me if they want to look at me on all other platforms. So Jim, would you agree that you've got an Instagram?
Yes, I have an Instagram.
Okay, I wouldn't know by going to your Facebook. Do you have a YouTube channel?
I don't.
Okay, that's the #1 search platform. Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I have not done.
But you get what I'm saying, right?
Yeah.
So as a real estate industry professional, and you're saying you're professional and you can help everybody, Jim, would you agree that I'm helping you? You are not sitting next to me in my office, correct?
Correct.
You would agree that I met you in Texas. You've stayed with me. You've traveled around to where it is. We've done things. You've followed my progress. But you would agree that I have readily available information for coaching, constant training. You see my content literally every day. You know I bring value. You know what I do for a living, correct?
Yes.
If you go to my social media platforms, it represents that as well. My Instagram has completely different content from my Facebook. And people will say, and see, that was a big thing. Gabby's like, oh, it does? No shit, because they're 2 different platforms. One's named Facebook, one's named Instagram.
Let me ask this real quick. What do you decide? How do you decide what goes on Facebook, what goes on Instagram? Let's say you've got one freaking great video, like, oh, this thing's so great, I want to see it on both. Do you share it on both, or?
Well, you would organically load it. You wouldn't share it, number
Right.
one.
No. Yeah, I understand that.
It depends on the video, and each platform will go viral. I get more engagement on just making posts than not, and get it going from there. But other than that, my Instagram's totally different. I can show you what I do on my Instagram. So let's do it this way, right? So let me show you my Facebook first, and I'll show you guys the difference of what it is. Because they are 2 different platforms, 2 different layouts. The reason that most people cannot scale their business is because you put the same content on both and you annoy the shit out of your audience. Because I have completely different followers on Instagram. I have a lot of the same that are on Instagram and Facebook. But that's why I don't put the same content. So if I go to my Facebook, right, this is important. Immediately what I told you is there. You can see I have kids, right? Okay. You can see right away on my intro compared to yours, it tells you what I do for a living right here, right? It tells you what I love to do, right? It tells you how to sign up for my coaching, correct? It's got links to the other things. It's got that I've got this stuff. So guys, you always want a business page, okay? And you want a business page, but you want to title it your first name, last name, real estate or realtor. And when you go to your page, up here in the cover photos where you would put your company logos, you'd put your compliance stuff, so that you're 1 click away for compliance. Because when they come to this page, it's going to show you where you work, if you're a lender, where you are, your NMLS number, your broker information, your team, you're 1 click away. But what I see is I'll come to a lot of your real estate pages, and this cover photo, you look like a used car salesman because you say, oh my gosh, I'm a realtor. Or I've gone to Facebook pages that are personal and it has realtor at the end. The other thing is that your Facebook account, my handle is still John Story, but I have bottom underscores. So sharing the content back and forth doesn't work. But what you'll see is my content today is what? When things seem especially rough, just ask yourself, did I shit my pants today? No? Okay. Well, then you're doing okay. Then you've got where I've got a friend that had an accident. I did my Memorial Day. I did a video on this today. You people, and I'm going to say you people that take 11 national holidays and brand your real estate shit all over this, I would never fucking work with you on a day in my life. It is not about you. It's not that you sell real estate. We don't need your company logo on there. I don't need a Merry Christmas, but then, hey, if you're ready to buy a house with me. You know what I mean? Like, it's just very impersonable. But then you got it there. You see my content. So you see my contents here, right? All about the stuff that I do. Would you agree there's a lot of different balance? Would you agree there's a consistency to my posting? See? Now, if I go to my Instagram, look at the format, completely different. Would you agree it's completely different content? Would you agree that I get engagement on my content? So I just switched up a few things, and just in the last 30 days, I've reached 400,000 accounts. So, but that's where you guys got to figure out is you've got all these things that give you statistics, it gives you statistics of what you're doing. But when I come to my Facebook, if you notice, it's completely different. The common denominator is this right here, is the same thing that if I was to go to my account here, notice I got the same things. Got my profile picture, but they're completely different. But if I was to share, Jim, this is a great question. If I was to share my content from here, this in real estate post to Facebook, and I tag people and they don't have the exact same handle, which is their subscription name, it's not going to populate correctly. Does that make sense? That is why you always organically load it. And I've always said that. Now, the number one benefit that Facebook has over any platform is one thing. What do you think it is? Anybody want to take a guess? There's one thing that Facebook outranks everything on.
You get to choose who you get to be friends with.
Nope. Because anybody can follow you on Facebook. So that's not true.
The most amount of followers, the most amount of people are on Facebook.
Nope.
No? Are you sure?
And I have said this probably 1,000 times. The number one thing is, you're right, Ellie, private Facebook client appreciation group. That is why I always say start with Facebook, build out your stuff, get your clients in there. You can control them. You can have a business page that puts out algorithms. It is a relationship-driven platform, but that is the number one thing, correct, Ellie, is you get to use private Facebook groups to put your clientele in. Yes, Jim.
Separate groups for Texas and Las Vegas, or put them all in one?
If they're a client, put them all in one.
Client appreciation.
Would you agree I don't have all my clients separated?
Right.
There's your answer.
That's kind of what I thought.
I wouldn't include realtors or lenders or title in your shit, just consumers.
Yeah.
But does that make sense to you? Like when I was in sales and I did title, I had two groups. I had one group where everybody could be a part of it. Then I had a secret group to when I did classes, they would sell out. And then all these people in this group that never used me would be like, hey dude, how come I never see your classes? Oh, you don't send me escrows yet. So you can't be in this group yet. Once you start sending it, then you get first right of refusal. Now, the other main benefit of Facebook is that if you take a class from a social media guru, they can't buy likes and followers and shit like that. So their stuff's organic. I mean, dude, I've seen some big entrepreneurs that are on their Facebook, and I'm like, so let me get this straight. You get 400,000 views on every post, but on your Facebook, you got 32 likes. You get what I'm saying? You can chart it. Now, here's the other thing that I love with Facebook is, you can, let me ask you a question for you guys that how many of you guys want to do more business? Okay, well, there's 4 people that I can see. What's the other number one thing I tell you to create when you build out your social media, especially on Facebook? And I've said it 1,000 times.
The algorithms?
Nope. Algorithms are important. What's the other thing that you need to have? What's the number one thing you need to build out besides private Facebook groups?
Content?
Nope.
YouTube.
Nope. We're talking about Facebook, not YouTube. Diane, of all people, you should know this. So that tells me you're not being consistent in it. You should have a target list. A target list of all your new friends to make sure you're engaging with them. You can see what friend requests you have out and how I get to my stuff. So like, obviously this is a little trick that I do. I'll go to my home right here, right? And I'll click on my friends list and I'll go to friend requests and then I go to view sent friends. And I've got all these people that'll have out or whatever it is. And if they haven't researched it or whatever, I'll be like cancel. And then I'll go to his page again and I'll hit add because he might not have been active, and I'll hit add again. And then I'll go back and then I'll hit it again. I'll do that all the time. I'll delete a bunch of people and then I'll add 5 more back because now they're getting a fresh notification. See, what happens is we think that we just send a friend request and then they're like, oh, they're going to see it. But sometimes people I've seen people who are like, oh, I got a couple hundred friend requests, which means they're not monitoring their stuff. They're not seeing where it's at. They're not building to where it is. But these simple mistakes by not like, why would you not have a target list? Because you got new people coming to your page. You want to make sure that these new people are staying engaged with you, correct? But then, Jim, you had a great analogy of what you were trying to say you wanted your page to do, but you posted 3 times in the last 45 days. So 42 days you haven't posted in a sense. Do you know how much money you've lost statistically off what I coach people on?
A lot. I've been in such a dark place. I'm trying to get out of it. I'm doing good this week. I'm feeling better.
Okay, good.
I'm back on here and I'm about to go up, get on the big computer, I brought up the app today. I'm like, I'm going to start over from the beginning, watching everything.
It's funny because I'll get new people in coaching and they're like, well, where's this and where's this and where's that and where's this? I'm like, dude,
go through it.
Videos that says slow down. And why are you going from 1 to 5 to 4 to 3 to 5 to 2 to 3 to 1? If you want more direct answers, sign up for 1-on-1. I'll dial your shit right in. But there's a reason that I teach them to do it that way. Why do you think my process, Jim? That's a great question. Why do you think my process is to do it that way?
Well, I think it's done that way.
Yeah,
it's like a kindergartner can do it if they follow through what you're giving us.
Yep.
But since
I
haven't put in a while, I'm going to start back over. And it's Netflix at night. Watch your stuff.
Well, and the problem is that you're learning in your business. You just skip all over, but you want success. I had a client today, and I asked him. I said, what time do you think I woke up this morning knowing that my first coaching call was at 8? Still woke up at 4:45. Now, my ideal audience on social media is real estate agents that don't wake up typically that want money until after 6:30 or 7, which if you follow my coaching and you're not up at, so I tell this client, I said, so you know that if you wake up at 5, you do the engagement I tell you to do, you chart it, you track it, there's no way you can't make $250,000 a year. And they agreed with me. And I'm like, why do you say that? They go, well, because we've seen the statistical proof over and over and over and over. And I asked them and I said, and anybody can ask this, respond to this. Why, knowing my ideal audience doesn't wake up till later versus yours, which I would say is about an hour and a half difference. Why do you think, regardless, I still wake up early no matter what? Anybody got an answer for that?
So you're the first thing they see when they pick up their phone.
They would do it anyways, even if I slept in later, because most realtors sleep in because they're lazy.
Well, you're also 2 or 3 hours behind a lot of people that you might be.
That's not true. That's not true, because sometimes I'm 2 hours ahead of people.
Oh, depending on where you're at in the country.
But that has nothing to do with it. Would you guys say you value your clients? Well, then you'd have YouTube and all the shit that I tell you to build out. So the answer is no right now. Because none of you could sell me on paying you 15, 20 grand to sell a house. But this is the number one thing that I've lived by in my coaching and how I run my business. I will never be the person that says, do as I say, not as I do. Write that down. I'll never be the person that says, do as I say, not as I do. Now, here it comes down to the content of where it is. I think is a great thing. If you go back to my profile and we're building it out, right? I don't have things that tell them to sign up for my coaching. I remind them in this one. I poke it every once in a while, but I use my stories to show people what I'm doing. I know for a fact that if I put up there and I have like a photo of me or a photo of something, it'll get 10 times the amount of views. So now in your stories, you got to kind of have a balance. You got to have a balance of whatever it is. But what you guys will do is put the same stories on Facebook, the same stories on Instagram. And that's why none of you guys are closing 10 plus transactions a month. Each platform, you have to understand, each platform runs differently. And where you guys are missing the boat is going, well, John, I've got this and I've got this. And so here's what happens, Jim. Let's just say you're really active on Instagram. Would you agree you're more active on Instagram? Okay. Well, I have a client that makes $1 million a year off Facebook. $1 million, several of them. Now, let's just say I'm not as active on Instagram, but you're putting out all those flyers and neighborhood information and, oh my gosh, let's connect. And now I go to your Facebook and you told me that you're active in Vegas, but it says you live in San Antonio or that area first. Your phone number doesn't say that that corresponds. You posted 3 times in 45 days. So now what do I think? You just fucking lied to me. See how easy it is for the consumer to not trust you now? So when you think about any of you guys putting out content and now if they go, oh gosh, here's their Instagram, it has realtor at the end. Oh gosh, here comes their VIP pick of the day because they don't have any listings. You know, why don't they just put up content of value or who they are? But that's not how it works. Facebook is built for that, for groups, different content, building out different systems, having fun in the group, having your bio set up correctly, having your business page named after you, build it out correctly with the cover photo that's got your where you work information. Here's one thing. Here's 2 things I would never do in real estate. Okay. Outside of Facebook. This has been brought up quite a bit. 2 things. Number 1, I'd never use a CRM I don't own. Because when you leave that CRM or you leave that company, guess what? They got all your leads and all your contacts, and they're going to take them and use them. Trust me. Second thing, I would never have my email address as a brokerage's address, ever. I made that mistake years ago. You know what I'm saying? Because you guys are just leaving. Like you guys are not. So Jim, now here's a great example. Jim's going to switch brokerages, probably go to somewhere else, whatever it is. So let's just say you build out this entire big pipeline, all these things, and all of a sudden your leads get left. Now you just lost all that money, and the brokerage can basically be like, bro, we own it. You don't. So the reason I say build out a target list and that client checklist that I have in the file tab under there is so that you can build out, whether you're friends with them on Facebook and Instagram, make sure you're engaging with them. You know what I mean? The handwritten cards, the text messages, get them, and then here's one of the other greatest assets that Facebook has over Instagram. What's another great asset that Facebook has over Instagram? And I've got a client that has made already 6 figures in the last 12 months by doing this activity. So see, when you guys are puzzled, it means you're not researching what I'm telling you, what each platform does and how they're different and how they move. There is another main, very, very main, I would say probably one of the biggest things on Facebook that gives you that any other social media doesn't. Do you know what it is?
The birthdays.
You're right.
I did that this morning, John. I did the whole week. I looked at people's birthdays coming up and some of the early messages that I got out of training yesterday. It was awesome.
What'd you say to them though?
I said, I want to wish you a happy early birthday. Hope you have a great day. Kept it simple.
That's all you said and ended it at that?
No, got replies and I said, "Hey, I hope you have an amazing day today as well." And yeah, there was like 3 or 4 of them. So
Do you know how many
kept it
that is?
going nice and light.
Okay, so do you have a target list of the people that have responded?
Absolutely.
Okay, so there you go. You're a military guy, so I know you follow instructions.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so now you got that information. Now there's another step that you need to do with it, but you didn't do it. Anybody have a guess of what you need? Because if you have conversations with them, now what are you trying to gather? Ah,
Their their
Huh?
address to send them something.
correct, Judy. You are absolutely 100% correct.
I've been doing that.
So now you get that. So now you put the birthday wish and they're responding, and you'd be like, hey, I'd love to send you something. So now you take their name information that they're responding. So some people will be like, well, how do you determine what your target list is? The birthdays help you a lot. Because if you got 3 that responded that week and you do that the next 52 weeks, you got 150 people on that list. Now you got 150 people's new addresses that you can send them for sure birthday cards over the next years because you got that written down. See how this works? Those 150 people, let's just say 100 haven't used you as your services. Now you get 100 marketing reps that you're remembering their birthday, and they're like, holy crap, John remembered my birthday again? My own realtor didn't remember that shit. See how easy this is to build out a database of free warm leads? The problem is you don't slow down. And I had a great thing the other day. It was like, well, John, you should have links for it is. And I said, my response was, well, maybe you should just slow down and watch the videos instead of skipping the hell around. And then it'd be a lot easier. But they're all there. All the tabs are right there. And the reason that I don't have a video attached is because it all goes in sequence in my training platform on how it rolls out. I'm not going to allow you to skip around. I'm not that coach. What CRM do I use? I use social media and an Excel spreadsheet. That's it. I've never used anything else. I mean, you can use Chip or Monk Chippy or Chip Monkey, whatever that thing is, that you can send out multiple emails if you want. Look, a CRM is really look, people are like, oh, I need to put my contacts. Well, Excel spreadsheet does it better because they have tabs you can add. The only reason I would use a CRM or purchase one is to drip out my YouTube content to people when they're during the process of the transaction. But if you do my email templates that I've already have built for you guys, they would already know and have subscribed to your YouTube channel and already have your Buyers Academy and Sellers Academy checklists already written out. So you wouldn't have to worry about that. Does that make sense to you guys? So there's a flow to everything and what you're trying to do, but like I said, just keep it a little simple, keep it fun. Don't overthink it, but there's so many more advantages of using Facebook than some of these other big platforms. Would you agree now? But so many of you I see focus so much on basically Instagram more than that. And I'm telling you guys, I got a client, they do 100 transactions a year. They lit on our mastermind. They're like, we just do Facebook and YouTube. Because we're having a hard enough time just, getting shit together. You know what I mean? So it's like, now you understand Facebook's a relationship driven. You can build a business page. You can use it for a private client appreciation group. You can use it for birthdays, doing it better on that aspect. I think on Instagram, most people, so here's the thing. When you get on Facebook, primarily you have to fill out all your birthday and information, right? Instagram doesn't make you do that. So you typically don't know where people really live unless they fill it out. Would you agree? But Facebook already has where they lived, where they were born, when they went to school, birthdays, all that stuff. Instagram does not, correct? So which one's the better phone book to develop relationships with data that's already readily available? Facebook. And then I showed you guys my content's still different. I showed you my reach of how many people are reaching out to me organically. So, I mean, that's the thing that you got to look at is you're like, okay, well, he's got all these people reaching out, right? So you can literally see it and be like, okay, well, here's people that, and Instagram's changed a lot. When Instagram was adapted and pivoted, it was mainly photos. Now it's a lot of video, short videos, content like that. But Facebook is your hub where you can really make a lot of money, create a great target list. You can see your friend requests that are sent out. Instagram's trying to make a move towards that. But when somebody accepts your friend request, don't go DM them right away. Put them on your target list. Make sure you're engaging with their content. See how that makes sense to you guys a little bit more on that aspect? But Jim, like you said, it's the lack of inconsistency on that, to where if you're active on one, so this is the problem, guys, is that I've always said, until you master one, don't move on to the other. You'll hear it in my training all the time. How many of you guys have ever heard me say that? Stop moving around and jumping around. Master one, then move. Then master one, then move. But you guys that have Facebook and Instagram and a YouTube channel that's not built out, or LinkedIn, or Threads, or TikTok, or whatever you guys want to do, and you're not consistent on all that stuff with content, guess what? You're losing money. Because number one, most people that have all those just share the same content across the board, which annoys your audience. I will share some content from one to the other, but what I typically do is space it out a couple days before I drop the next video content. Does that make sense? Like my video that's on Instagram, I'll put on my YouTube, and I'll have that probably go out in 24 hours from now, different of where it is, but it's a different algorithm on how that works to build it out in a sense. But it is right where Laurie was like, oh, your algorithm. Yeah, your audience is the most important thing. So when I write down my social media, and I said we start with Facebook, we start of all the great things that it can do, correct? Now you write down and you say, who's my ideal audience? And Facebook is really king on this. Well, my ideal audience is real estate industry professionals. Your guys is primarily are people that would buy and sell a home or use you for a mortgage. Would you agree? So I can statistically prove to you and show you that by you being friends with other realtors, commenting on other realtors' page, liking and friend requesting other realtors on Facebook, I have a video on my YouTube channel where I can show you where you're losing $250,000 a year. I've proven it over and over and over. I'm a numbers guy. And guys, stop doing posts that are like, here's the weekend, what's going on? And stop putting up content of going, hey guys, just because somebody gave you a flyer and was like, here's your 7 buyer guide tips, and you use that as a post, don't do that. And stop taking pictures of you in a kitchen or in front of your computer going, I can work from anywhere. Okay, and you guys, okay, you're not a model. I keep saying this to you guys. I see a lot of your content going out there. You're not a model. Nobody's paying you to do that shit. Keep it real, put it out there. And the reason I tell you guys all this stuff is I did it. It got me the wrong audience. Okay? So you don't want to be like, oh, look at me. I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm looking at the camera, but I'm not looking at the camera, but I'm here in this house. Look at me. Even though I don't sell real estate, I want to tell you about real estate. You don't know what I'm talking about because you have people that are like, we're going to do a content day. I'm like, how many photos of yourself in a home can you take before it's like, dude, take that content day and go film content about the area and what sells the home and the process of working with you and bloopers and fun shit where people actually want to know you're a human being versus a robot. Like if you look at my videos, none of them are like high end. Would you agree? Like we go to my Instagram and none of them are like, oh my gosh, John, this is the most high end video I've ever seen in my entire life. Like, let me show you that just as an example. Here's my daughter. You can hear her laughing in the background.
Oh, oh.
Here's the other one of the party.
Oh, y'all want to party till 3 o'clock in the morning and forget that I wake up at 4. You guys look like death.
Here's my other one. Okay, so I got a quick question. There are 11
national holidays in the year, which means you have 354 more days to advertise like a used car salesman if you're in real estate. Why on earth do you constantly, every holiday, everything that goes on, you brand your I'm a used car salesman on your branding of happy holidays or whatever it is, but make sure to buy.
Then you got another one, right? Now, would you agree my content's all different? But all I go to some of your real estate page, it's like real estate, 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 one of me. Real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, one of me. I'm never ever saying to sign up for my coaching, but the content brings it to my coaching to my page. Does that make sense to you guys? So when you draw an audience in, like, let me ask you this as a perspective of you girls. If you went to a guy's page and you met him, right? So you meet him out and about, you're in a social setting, and they give you his name, and then you look him up on social media, and every post is about how he's had 5 breakups in the last 5 weeks, house isn't clean, no shit together, whatever it is. You know, would you date him?
Sounds like my cup of
He
tea.
had 5 breakups.
Well, but the thing of it, but here's the funny part, is that your content, when it's all real estate, real estate, real estate, real estate, they're like, dude, we get it, I'm out. So you got to think it's the same thing. Does that make sense? Like an inconsistency of content and stories or whatever. So think about that. If you're on your phone and you're watching social media, why don't you have social media going? It's free. If you're watching people's stories, why don't you have stories going? It's free. If you're looking at something and get into fun, like, okay, let me ask you a question. Do you get all in depth on people's posts when you're like, okay, and let me see your another VIP listing of the day? No? Or are you more likely to be like, hey, here's some funny stuff. Here's some valuable information. Here's a lot more funny stuff. Okay, this is keeping me entertained. Which one are you going to look at more?
The second one, funny stuff.
But see, all realtors look the same, man. You guys are like robots because somebody teaches you a class and they're like, okay, this is correct branding. No, it's not. Show me statistically how you have all these clients closing all these transactions, and then I'll believe you. Because see, my job is to get clients. I could say, hey, I make a lot of money, but at the end of the day, I'm not going to be in business any longer if my clients don't have success stories off it. Would you agree on that? Like Jim, even though he's coming back, he stayed with it. Number one, it's not an astronomical fee. Number two, he knows it works. And number three, he knows that when I get back into the training, it's going to reset his brain. He's going to go back to the basics and then flow from there, correct? But no other coaching has that. See how this works? So think about your business in the same. How do I reset? How do I regroup? How do I work with you? And the only reason, like, here's the way I look at it. I do an overview of my business every week. So if I'm not traveling or I'm not doing Zooms or I'm not getting conversations, I know I have 168 hours, which is 7 days. So if I don't have, and let's just say I'm consistent on social media, my stories or whatever it is. If I don't have one person reach out to me about my coaching, I know I did something wrong. So if you don't have one person a week reaching out to you, use you for your services, and then over the years of building it, you're not having one closing a week, you're doing something wrong. It could be content, it could be systems, it could be lack of consistency, lack of waking up on time, lack of waking up and creating conversations. But statistically, I can prove it to you how you need to be closing one deal a week. And it's easy, especially if you're consistent on platforms, having fun with your content, you're creating the conversations that you're doing. Does that make sense? It's like so if you guys haven't created conversations and you don't have content going, or you've made content, you shared the same content on Facebook and the same content on Instagram, is your business going to go? No. Like Jim, if he's out at the gym today and he runs into people and they're like, here's my name. Hey, this is what I do. I'd like for you to work with me. But now none of his content says that. Now that person's going, I just met this person. It's like going to the dude. It's like, oh man, I love being in relationships. I take care of my girl like a queen. And then you go to their page and it's like, you broke up with 5 different chicks in the last 5 weeks. So that's kind of like how I base it is like, I start with my platform, what I want them to see. Then that flows with your content, right? Each platform's different. But the sole purpose is you guys aren't studying and getting into coaching. What I'm telling you is each platform serves a different purpose. You're just like, here's a post. I'm just going to throw that shit everywhere and call it a day. But that's not how it works. Like my stories are different on Facebook versus Instagram. Some make it there, but not all make it there. Now, here's the only thing. Here's the only time that I think that it's okay to share the same story from Instagram to Facebook. And this is it. If it has a link embedded into it, you can do that because on the Facebook story, they can click the link and go there. That's it. It's the only time I would say to do that with the same content. Diane's got this puzzled look.
Well, yeah, because that's been my big struggle.
As
The
what?
stories with the links in them. Can you like elaborate on that? Because I can't seem to get the links on the Facebook stories.
Well, then you got to have your Instagram set up. Are you putting a link in your Facebook or in your Instagram?
Oh, so if I put the link in my Instagram, like
Then you
Then
can share
you
it to your
share-
Facebook personal page. Other than that, don't do it. The Facebook doesn't allow links on personal pages.
got you.
So see
Okay,
how they're all,
thank you for
but the reason I bring that up too, and you get confused, are you guys understanding that every platform's different now? That was the main focus of this training. And you guys just think just because Facebook on Instagram or it's social media, it's like, oh, it just works the same. The number one thing you guys found out today is what? Every platform serves a different purpose. So when you're putting out content, think every platform builds out a different purpose. What's the purpose? So now if I ask you guys the same question, and I said, Laurie, what are the main benefits of Facebook that no other platform has? Can you hear me, Bueller? You just got to mute. Okay.
For me,
No, what's
I
the
think
main?
there's 2 of us on here, so I wasn't sure.
Oh yeah. You. Well, I can only see you, so.
So I'm sorry. What's your question?
What are the main benefits of Facebook above any other platform?
It's a relationship builder.
What's the main benefit of Facebook above any other platform?
Groups and birthdays.
Cody, stop interrupting.
What he said.
Okay, but here's the problem. I've talked about it for 45 minutes of the main focuses of what it is. Now, from a coaching perspective, this is what Brad Lee told me one time. I giggled like that. And he asked me dead straight to my face. He goes, what's so funny? You're losing money, John. Focus on this. I gave you a very simple answer. You've been listening for 45 minutes.
Yeah.
Now, there's a difference between listening and hearing and implementing. I was very specific. I said, number one is private Facebook groups.
Mhm.
Okay. Number two is obviously it's like a phone book because you can build out and see exactly where their things are. But the birthdays was one of the main things that Instagram does not have. But you not being able to rip those off like that means that you're, number one, it's okay. You're taking notes wrong. I did it for my whole life. I learned how to take notes. Trust me. I highlight notes differently on how I do stuff. But guys, just, those are some of the main big things that you can build out that you're missing. Private group for a client appreciation, obviously in the training, remember that takes a budget and consistency. There's a way that I do it. There's a way to build it out. You'll make a lot of money off your group. But these are all action items that people don't understand is that you got to have it on your calendar. You got to have the things that you're built out. There's all different things of where it is. Dude, if I could turn my computer right now and show you what my dog is doing right now, you guys would die. Like, are you okay? I mean,
It's a laptop. You could turn it around.
no, it's not a laptop. I got a giant monitor.
Oh,
But she's literally like up against the wall sleeping, like head cocked one way or another. And I'm like, God, at my age, I'm like, I'm gonna wake up and have to go to the chiropractor. But
take a picture and post it, John.
I will maybe later. But see, focus on that. As we go forward, I want you guys to understand. Now I want you to go write it out on the platforms that you're on. I want you to do a documentation of how much content you're putting on the same platform that's redundant, repetitive. That's why your business can't grow. Stories. Do you have your phone number? Are you set up correctly? Do you look like a used car salesman when they come to it? The other thing is, I see a lot of you guys, and I said this the other day, I don't care if you make videos on TikTok or Instagram or whatever it is, but you guys sharing the same content from whatever it's going to be and put it on a different platform, they're gonna push your content down because you have a different logo on a platform that is not the same one. Does that make sense? It's like if you do a video on TikTok and you download it, you don't use the app to scrub it, and you post that video and then you put it out there, whatever it is, guess what? Facebook's not going to advertise for TikTok to be on their platform or Instagram or vice versa. Does
I have
that
a
make sense?
question
Yeah.
about that. Because sometimes I'll post a reel on Instagram and then I'll wait a day or two and then put it on Facebook.
Okay.
Does that?
Are you organically loading it?
Yes. Separately.
I don't do that a lot, but you can. So it just
Well,
depends on the content. It honestly, that's a wide open question because it 100% depends on the content.
Okay. Well, I don't do it often, but sometimes I feel
You're
like
not- you're-
there's
no,
a
no, no, no.
subject that,
Hold on. You're trying to get me to get you an answer. It 100% depends on the content. Whether you do it often or not, it 100% does it on that thing. And what's more impactful? You want to have posts going every day and you want to have stories going every day. So both.
yeah.
And well, somebody had that question. And where it is like when tracking, you list out every like or comment. You just say how many likes they got, how many comments they got. Super simple. That makes sense to you guys? A little helpful on social today on where it is. Guys, there's 9 million other things you got to get in the training platform on your business. And pay attention to the details that I'm giving you. Knowing your training platform, okay? Every video you watch has an action item you have to complete. Don't go from video 1 to 2 just to be like, John, I watched 20 videos today. Okay, well, show me the 20 things you got done then today. Well, then you didn't watch the video because each one is telling you, hey, guess what? I have an action item to do and you didn't do it. Does that make sense to you guys? But Diane, yours is a very open-ended conversation. When we have our one-on-one coaching call, I can show you and I'll go in depth on yours, but I'm not going to do that because it's going to create a lot of confusion because you and I work on a lot of different things on what you're doing. But does that make sense to you guys? And I generate a lot of conversations from my stories. I generate a lot of conversations from my posts. So I put a lot of my business stuff in my stories more than I ever put it on a post, if that answers your question a little bit better. But if no one is liking your content, and this is crazy to me, change it up because that's just telling you people don't like it. Or you've screwed up your algorithms or your audience or whatever it's going to be. But does that make sense to you guys? Okay, cool. Any questions you guys have before I log off here? No? All right. You guys have been awesome. Hopefully you learned some stuff today. Keep it simple. Keep it fun. Remember to have fun with your audience is the number one thing. Okay, guys? And gals, and just let it rip is what I say. All right, guys. Have a good one. Thank you, guys.
Thanks, John.